Abram lived with his beautiful wife Sarai in Ur in Chaldea. Ur was in Mesopotamia, not far from the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. There was a highly developed civilization that made a comfortable life possible. Abram had a special connection with his nephew Lot, whose father had already died. But then, all of a sudden, we read in Genesis chapter 11 that Terah, Abram's father, moved out of his hometown with all its comforts and took Abram and Lot with their wives. What had happened? Why did they give up the comfortable life in the city and exchange it for a nomadic life? We find the answer in Acts chapter 7, verse 2 and 3. There we read, "The God of glory appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran, and said to him, 'Get out of your country and from your relatives and come to a land that I will show you.'" The God of glory had appeared to Abraham and called him. He was to move out of Ur in Chaldea and leave behind everything that had been important to him in his life so far. This encounter with God had made such an impression on Abraham that he was even able to persuade his father and nephew to move with him, leaving their attractive hometown behind. This is all the more astonishing because Abram did not even know where to go. God had not told him yet. We do not know the details of this event in Abram's life, but one thing is certain. The glory of God, which Abram had received a deep impression of at this appearance, was so much greater than all the comforts in Ur in Chaldea and made Abraham ready to move out. It was God himself and his glory that attracted Abraham. No task, no special ministry, no destination. Abraham didn't have those at all. The only thing he had was the call of God and the glory of this God who had appeared to him. It impresses us to realize this. I wish for myself and for you also a deep impression of who and what God is, of his glory, of his greatness, of his love. We do not know what Abraham saw of the God who called him, but we do know that this same God showed himself to us in his Son, the Lord Jesus. In Jesus Christ, we can see God in all his glory. And this should also change our lives. Abraham set out on his path. And yes, there were setbacks along the way. But the setbacks did not stop him. No, Abraham went further. And if necessary, back to the place where God wanted him to be. But what about us? Are we also ready to unconditionally follow what God tells us? For this, his glory has an attraction like a strong magnet. This attraction of the glory of God was enough for Abram to have strength to make the necessary separations in his life. The exodus from Ur was the first separation. Abram left many people and things behind. He made the right decision and experienced step by step how God ultimately gave him much more than he could ever have had in Ur. In our lives, separations might become necessary too, when there are obstacles to continuing the walk obediently with God. The separation from Ur in Chaldea stands for the separation from the world out of which God has called us. The separation from Terah makes us think of the words of the Lord Jesus that family relationship should not keep us from consistently following him. And Lot was a believer who tormented his righteous soul by living in wrong surroundings, as we read in 2 Peter 2 verse 8. But even then, separation is necessary without giving up on a brother. The obedience of Abraham found its strength in his encounter with the God of glory. It has been recorded in order to stimulate us to be more and more occupied with God and His glory. It is this that will produce changes in our lives, and that will motivate us to continue with God on the pathway He chooses.